1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the High Performance CEO Show, your exclusive insight into the strategies and success habits of the world's top CEOs. I'm your host, Sebastian Schieke, entrepreneur, mentor, and business angel. Prepare to grow your business, enhance your leadership skills, and thrive in today's world. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome to a new episode of the High Performance CEO Show. Today I'm talking to an Australian dude, Braith Bamkin, and he's an amazing networker. He runs BNI Melbourne as Essential Executive Director. He's a certified practicing marketeer and has a large corporate experience. Lives and loves the small business world. He runs a lot of networking events and he's very passionate about helping people find their niche, to really thrive and grow. So, Braith, welcome to the show.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate you having me on. It's great to be here with you and connect with your audience.
Yeah, it's lovely because we are both in a similar time zone at the moment. I'm currently in Nelson, New Zealand. You are in Melbourne, a lovely place. So it makes it easy for us to talk during daylight and not one person during the night.
5 a.m. in the morning. Yeah.
We connected on Podmatch. It's an amazing platform to meet other podcast guests and hosts. You are a very well-connected person and you are running this BNI chapter in Melbourne. So how about you share some of your stories or what's driving you to connect with all these people every day?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Sebastian. Look, my journey probably started a long time ago when I first started in the corporate world. And I had a job with a company in the commercial textile world. And I was with the owner of the company on my very first day. We were driving across the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and I remember this really clearly. And she said to me, and mind you, I have to contextualize this. This is 1987, so it's actually quite a long time ago. So 1987, the words weren't normal. So she said, if you want to succeed in this business, you need to learn how to network. So we went into the city, we did our day of business, and it was all fine and all that. And I remember coming back over the Harbour Bridge and the pylons triggered me and I said, Judith, what did you mean by networking? Because it wasn't a word that I'd heard of. There was no computers back then, so it wasn't even a computer term. And so for the next couple of years, she taught me how you network and build relationships and build business out of that. And when I was at university, I had sold timeshare. So I knew I did not like selling in that way. So I really loved the fact that I could learn how to build relationships and help people and get business as a result of that. So I spent the next few years with that company. I went to New Zealand with them. I worked there for 4 years in New Zealand. And I built that business into a multi-million-dollar business simply through the power of networking. So I've been networking for a really, really long time. But fast forward a long time, I was working in telco. I got a redundancy. I was a member in BNI. I ended up buying the BNI business, and we have 24 chapters here in Melbourne. So I've been networking a long time. I know how to do it, but here I am in Melbourne as the owner of BNI.
Amazing place. I've been in Melbourne, love the city, and 21 chapters. So for anyone who doesn't know BNI, how it's built up and what it's doing, want to share a few words how this organization works?
Yeah. Thanks, Sebastian. So, before I had been to BNI, I had never even heard of it. I walked in and I went, oh my goodness, what is this thing? Well, what I would say was it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was not a morning person in those days. I am now, but I wasn't in those days. I'm like, how do these people get up and be so happy at 7 o'clock in the morning? Yeah. And there were 30, 40 people doing business. They were engaging with each other. They were happy. And now it was real. It wasn't fake. It was real. And I was like, it was really fascinating to me because I'd been networking for a long time. I'd actually even started my own networking group 25 years ago, which, I used to get 300 people a month to. So I knew how to get people together. But when I was in BNI, I joined and I went, wow, this is amazing. And so what happens is people join what's called a chapter and they go along to a weekly meeting. And it's through that process that people build trust through turning up every week. So it's consistency when you turn up every week and you get to engage with your fellow members every week. It's that consistency of turning up and being accountable to your fellow members and to yourself. And then through that meeting, you teach people how to generate business for you through training them on what it is that you want. And the chapters only allow one person in each category. So you'll only ever have one mortgage broker, one family lawyer, one accountant, one bookkeeper. So it means that you've got exclusivity in that chapter. And if your fellow chapter mates know, like, and trust you, you can be confident that they will give their referrals to you. And the trick is, over time, building trust. And when you build trust with people, they start to feel comfortable to open up their network. So when you know somebody really well, you know you're happy to open up your network. You don't know them so well, maybe you're not ready to do it yet. And we don't know what that time frame is. So you've just got to invest in people to work out how you need to help them to help you. So it's about giver's gain.
I completely agree with this persistency, consistency, showing up on a regular basis. I mean, we run this show now for quite a while, and every week we release a new episode. You know, I interview a new CEO or coach or someone who can really bring value to my audience. And this has been an amazing networking tool because the amount of people I meet all around the world is really great. And on top of this... You've
probably got a great black book, haven't you?
Yes. And we also run a networking event every month, you know, a virtual one where we get people together. So I can completely agree that this is... This is so important to network and to build this trust. Yeah, because, hey, I mean, all business is should be built on trust, and you rather engage with someone you know, and you know more than from one meeting than someone who just rings up and tries to sell you something on the phone.
Yeah. So I think today, more than ever, people are looking for others that they can trust, because we have a really fast-paced life. We have a lot of digital influence in our life, and sometimes we don't get to build depth in our relationships. And so a referral is simply solving someone's problems, right? So when people have problems, they want to know that the person that is helping them can be trusted. And if I don't know that person through another connection, you know, if I don't have that connection with trust, it's very hard to get my problem solved. So then you spend a lot of time looking for solutions to your problems. So you're using Google or whatever it is. But if you can ask your network, hey, who do you know that can do whatever your problem is? You know, you save time, and you don't need to scour the internet for reviews. You don't have to look at Google. Google reviews are great. You know, all the stuff that you have on your social media, your social proof, that's all great. But a personal introduction saying, hey, Sebastian, you can trust this person. I know they do a really great job. Think of the time that you would save. So there's a real power today. And I think particularly after all the lockdowns we've had over the last few years, people crave that connection. They really crave, because what happened as soon as the lockdowns ended? What do we all do? Bang, we're out. we're out to dinner, we're out. Because that's human nature, right? So I think it was a great experiment. It shows that people just want to hang out with people. So, you know, some people say to me, Braith, the internet's coming, it'll all be over. I think there is a place for digital networking, of course, because if you're going across borders, you've got options now, but nothing really replaces the one-to-one connection that you can make with people.
Definitely. And running these BNI, these different chapters, you said, okay, there's only one occupation in each chapter, so there's no competition. What kind of people do you meet in BNI? Are these small business owners or executives from medium-sized companies? Who's turning up?
You know, you'd be surprised that it is the full gamut of people. You generally don't find brand new people in business because they need to have a network to be able to make the system work. So if people don't have a network, it tends to not really be easy for them. Some people are natural networkers and they can make that work for them quite quickly. But what you will find generally is it's the business owner who has 3 to 20 odd staff, and they've just got to the stable point in their business, and they're really looking to expand that to the next level. They know that they have more opportunity out there and that they can leverage their business, but they can't afford a sales team of 30 or 40 people, but they want to grow their business. So it's a really great way of employing without employing a whole pile of salespeople, because the people in your chapter, if you train them well, will want to go out and find you business. Because if I like you, I want to help you, right? And if you help me, it's implicit that I'm going to feel this kind of unspoken desire to want to help you back. We call it givers gain in BNI. You might have heard the law of reciprocity. It's just human nature. You just did something nice for me, I'm going to do something nice for you. And kind of you do that with 30 people, you've got a really, really strong sales team. You're not paying.
And it's more fun. It's fun because you connect and you have a common interest. I help you, you help me, and give, get. It's giving something first and then receiving, of course, as well.
Yeah.
When you look at all these different businesses, and what do you see is the biggest challenge of business owners when they're trying to reach their market and reach their audience? It starts with an N, just a hint.
Whether they're in BNI or not, I work with a lot of people outside of BNI as well. I see a common thread. A lot of times, business owners or business people aren't clear about their value proposition. In marketing speak, you might call it the USP, unique selling proposition, but it's kind of what sets you apart and why people would choose you. And then they don't really spend a lot of time thinking about who their target market would be. So unless you're Coca-Cola or Ford, you can't advertise to everyone. So we all have limited marketing budgets, whether it's advertising, whether it's networking, whatever marketing activities you're doing, you've got to try and be as focused as you possibly can. And if you are very clear about who your target market is, then you can reduce the cost and the time that's involved in connecting with those people. So if you think about just a simple thing like your website, if your target market are business owners who are well established in a corporate environment, you're going to have a very different business web page than if your target market are young millennials who have got a lot of money to spend and it's a lifestyle thing. So you just see from a website perspective, you'd simply have a very different, the images will be different, the graphics, the colors. So just down to that, if you're not clear about who your target market is, how sometimes people look at a website and go, oh, this isn't right, or this is boring, or, this doesn't work for me. It's probably because you're not the target market, or they're trying to be everything to everyone and they haven't focused it. That's just one example, but it's everything from digital marketing to your networking to if people are still doing print. Even if you're doing cold calling, I know some people still do cold calling. You need to know who your target market is, because you should have that avatar in your head so that you can speak directly to that avatar. Because if you know the problem that they have, you're basically speaking to someone that will go, oh my goodness, this guy really gets me. So if you're speaking to the target market, they'll go, this guy really gets me. It's like when you see an ad on TV and something really resonates with you, go, oh yeah, this is for me. This product's for me. Or
And this can be small things, like where they go out for dinner, what do they buy, what kind of phone do they have, and you can really break it down to the smallest item to define this niche. But I agree, this is a big challenge for a lot of people, because it also comes with a lot of fear, because they think, this fear of losing out, I could serve so many people, and then when I limit myself, then I would serve less. But in the end, you serve more because you're more specific and you reach more people.
Can I give you an example?
Of course, yes, please.
I used to own a mattress store here in Melbourne. And when I first started in that business, I used to say I wanted referrals to people who had sore backs. Now, if you ask 100 people in a room, pretty much everyone's going to say they've had a sore back at some point in time. So it's such a broad thing that people their brain can't really latch onto that. But what I realized was we were really good at working with physiotherapists, chiropractors who had clients that had injury or were coming back from injury and were not getting a good night's sleep. And they were afraid of spending money on a new mattress because they didn't have confidence that could be solved. So what we did is we brought in physiotherapists into our store to train our staff on how to work with those clients, so that we went out to the physiotherapists, the chiropractors, the allied health professionals in the local area and said, we are able to help your clients to get a great night's sleep. And we're going to guarantee that our staff will spend the time to find them the right mattress, so they don't have to be afraid of walking, because buying a mattress can be confronting. There's 50 of them. Which one do I choose? And then we actually gave them a 30-night money-back guarantee that if the mattress did not work for them, we would give them their money back and they could either keep the mattress or send it back. And in the 5 years we did that, we only ever had 2 people that came back. And what I then started to be very clear about is I want introductions to allied health people. So I was asking for the source referral. So they would consistently send me customers. But here's what happened. When I was in my BNI chapter and I asked for allied health professionals because we were confidently helping their customers get a great night's sleep, everyone who had a bad back go, oh, well, if they can help those people, I'm sure they can help me. So we got everyone anyway. So even though I asked for a very specific niche, and I was very clear about that niche, I never deviated from that. And I told great stories, because you got to have the stories in your toolkit. I would even get people who would come in and buy a pillow. Well, if you can help the people who have had injury and can't get a good night's sleep, I'm just a normal Joe Blow. I reckon you can probably help me get a $70 pillow. So it's amazing. The clearer you are, people can start to latch onto that. And humans are smart. They can work out that if he can fix that, then he can probably fix this as well.
Yeah, of course, to make the connection. You mentioned referrals a lot, yeah? And asking for referrals directly is one way. But I'm sure when you're good at networking, there are also other ways to get referrals, without being too direct. Maybe there are people who are not so confident, in basically speaking this out. So what could be a way, a proven way to get more referrals if you're good at networking, if you can connect with people and get your way around?
Great question. Well, firstly, I would say time. So you can't force this. So you need to invest time in people. People aren't going to open their networks up to you unless they know, like, and trust you. And that's a function of time. And the speed of trust is different for everyone. So I say that networking really is the top of the funnel, where you meet a lot of potential people to do work with. And then you need to start to be a little bit more discerning about where you invest that next level of time, and then where you invest that next level of time, and finally where you invest most time. And most people don't have time to invest in more than 4 or 5 really deep relationships and 20 to 30 next level up relationships. And when you're investing in those deeper relationships, it's the art of telling stories about how you solve people's problems that will help your potential referral partners understand what it is that you do. Because stories, we've heard facts tell, stories sell. Stories would stay in our mind and we can remember that. And so if you explain to me how you solve people's problems and what a good referral would look like, then I'm already primed when I'm not in a meeting with you to hear for those opportunities. It's kind of like, it's the reticular activation system in action. So, if I said to you, Sebastian, have you seen you're in Nelson, you probably haven't seen a lot of red Ferraris, but if I say, have you seen a red Ferrari, you probably haven't in the last couple of weeks in your mind, but now I've said that, you might see one on TV or something, and you'll go, Braith talked about a red Ferrari, I saw one. It's the same thing. If you share stories about how you've helped your clients, that's embedded in my brain. And if somebody says, I've got a problem, you go, no, I know Sebastian can help you with that problem because he helped this other client. And here's a story about how he helped them. So that's the trust factor. So it's really understanding where you're going to invest your time. And I would say to people, think of who is hanging out with your ideal client before they make the buying decision. So in a real estate game, somebody who's a real estate agent would want to be speaking to mortgage brokers, because you go to a mortgage broker before you buy a house, right? So you get your loan approved. So they know that people are looking to buy properties. So you would build a relationship with the mortgage broker. So who would the mortgage broker deal with? Well, they'd probably deal with the accountant, because the accountant has to get everything ready with the tax returns and everything that you need to be ready to be loan ready. And so who would you speak to before the account? So it goes on and on and on back. So you work out where the decision is made, the buying decision is made in your customer buying cycle, and you build your relationships with people at the step before the decision is made to buy your product and service. And then you're known as the problem solver, because that person can introduce you, so that the mortgage broker can say, Sebastian, you're buying a new house. Let me introduce you to my colleague who can help you in that regard. So then the mortgage broker looks like a winner, because you've saved, I've saved you time by introducing you to somebody you can trust, because, who has a lot of time. We want our problem solved fast.
Exactly. Yeah, cut a check for speed. I mean, don't reinvent the wheel, I mean, so many people out could help you. And I also work with coaches who help me, leverage my business. And this is how the world works. Yeah. And there are many people out who really struggle to defining their target audience, who really struggle. I mean, when you have a long business life, you're in business for, say, 30 years, you had various roles and worked with various types of organization. You accumulated a lot of knowledge in this time. And then you come to a point and say, okay, now I want to share my knowledge with the audience. But you're looking back in your life, you've done so many different things. How would you say, okay, my target audience is now this type of personality, this type of business owner. Yeah. What would you tell these people? How could they finalize this?
Well, there are two things that I'd say that I always look to. Firstly, who do you like doing business with? Because if you're in business, you want to be doing business with people that you like. If you have a group of people that you enjoy hanging out with and doing business with, I would really be looking there, because when you're in that space, it's less work and more fun. And so when you're having fun in your business, it's just better business, right? Then the other thing I would look at is, where do you get the best revenue from? So if you look at your customers, and I love customer segmentation, I'm sure your audience has come across this before. I like, gold, bronze, silver type segmentation, platinum if you want to go for a fourth level. But where do the people lie in your revenue stream? And it's the 80-20 rule. You'll get 80% of your revenue from 20% of the people that you're doing business with. So look at those people and go, what is similar about those people? What characteristics are the same? What problems are they solving? And how did they come to me? And invest your time in that 20%. The human condition is that we will invest more time in the 80% of the people that give us 20% of the revenue, because we kind of think that that's where we're more valuable. But I'm all about retire the clients that aren't working for your business. And when you free up your time, and it's not just time, it's emotional time, like those people that are not right for your business, they're not right for your business, but they'll be right for somebody else's business. For whatever reason, when you free up that space in your business, you actually have more space to spend on the 20% that give you most revenue. And imagine if over time your top 20% today, migrated out so that you could even focus on the top 20% of the top 20%. How good would that be, right? And I'm pretty confident. I know, and I'm pretty confident that top 20% of the top 20% will be people that you like doing business with, because there'll be something that your business resonates with them. And then you work out, okay, so these people come to me because of this reason. And then you'll start to really understand that your target market is attracted to you because of a way in which you approach your business. It might be your process, it might be your personality, it might be your product, it might be your price, whatever it is, all those marketing 4 Ps. It's a really easy way of working out where the best investment of your time is going to be.
And I would add, often it's also your own story, which resonates with your target, your own transformation. Yeah, maybe you've been in a similar position like your target audience, and you made the sleep step, you developed, you grew. And this transformation, your personal transformation story is also one element which makes you attractive to potential customers, because they want to go through the same growth in order to get
100%.
to where you are.
I work with a lot of business coaches who come to me looking for ways to get more business. And I would say 9 times out of 10, when they're struggling, they haven't realized that their special sauce is themselves. And they try to fix everything else that they think isn't happening. And I say to them, really, you're the reason people come to you. Get your story out, be confident about what it is that you have to offer, and that will resonate with someone, because no matter what you've got to sell, there is somebody who wants to buy it. And when you're clear about being niched, not being broad, you'll get more business.
Yeah. Lots of amazing ideas and tools you're sharing. Yeah. Looking back to BNI, how do you see this organization developing? Is it only operating physically, so face-to-face, or do you also have a digital section of people connecting online like we do at the moment?
Great question. One of the core values of BNI is traditions and innovation. And what we saw in the pandemic was we actually had to transfer everyone online within a week. So we had 10,000 chapters around the world. Melbourne's just a little tiny cog in the big wheel. There's 300,000 members in BNI in 77 countries. And we went onto Zoom in a week. It was crazy and it was amazing. And we obviously have that platform. And so some people in some countries, they're still 100% online because their authorities don't allow them to meet in person in that larger group. So I didn't realize that until quite recently. But here in Australia, we have some chapters that are 100% online. They tend to be more focused in the city. So, you know, there will be members who live in Melbourne, but not necessarily in the city. They might be on the outer fringes. They might have a property outside in the country, but they tend to sort of be congregated around that city because ultimately you still want to be meeting people in person. And we have some chapters of what we call hybrid. So they will meet online one week and another week they will meet in person. And so they are having the best of both worlds. So that the innovation in BNI is that, you know, we have whatever platform works for the customer, and the customer tells us what they want. So it's been really interesting. If you'd have asked me 5 years ago if this would have ever happened, I would have said, no way. But here we are. You know, the pandemic changed everything. The founder of BNI, Dr. Ivan Meisner, said about 6 or 7 years ago at one of the conferences that he believes that we will be hologramming in at some point. So that is something he's saying happening in the future.
Yeah.
So we haven't had that yet, but let's see if that comes.
You never know, At least,
never know.
Yeah.
You would never have guessed Zoom 4 years ago. You just wouldn't have.
It's so interesting. No? I mean, we had video calling before the pandemic, but it never really used it, you know, to the extent. And then suddenly now it's part of our lives. I
know. Well, look at us. You're a German living in New Zealand, talking to an Aussie in Melbourne. That's amazing.
Exactly.
This is extraordinary that we've made this connection. Like, this is amazing. We have made the world so accessible and so interesting. And I've just done recently some stuff on AI, and I love AI. I think it's amazing. I'm really excited about it. But I'm all about, you know, you've got to use the technology for you. And this is a really great example of how we're using technology to make our lives better. It's amazing.
I'm running a networking event in June where we also focus on AI. So please, I will send you a link. Join us if you can.
Thank you.
It's a virtual one on Zoom, connecting business owners all around. A lot of people in the States. It's been amazing. I had a guest on a podcast the other day. He's one of the leading AI developers in the world. His technologies have been mentioned by Barack Obama and Bill Gates, so he's quite a top player. And it's very interesting how this whole space is developing, and what this is bringing us. And here again, I mean, we need to see the opportunities, not focus on the challenges too much. Embrace the change and what is bringing us.
Well, I think it's coming whether we like it or not.
Exactly.
And I know a lot of people are like a little bit, oh my goodness, it's a little bit too much too fast. I mean, AI has been around for a while. It's just come at a speed recently that I think everyone's aware of. And I think that the challenge with it, and particularly in the way I work and what I say to people that work with me is, you use it as a tool. It's not replacing you. You use it as a tool to enhance you, because you still need the you. You need the human critical thinking. You need to know your target market. If you're asking it to write ad copy, you just can't blurt out ad copy unless you're really clear about who you want to reach and the languaging. And, I just did something on TikTok the other day about, you've got to know who you're speaking to, because when I talk on TikTok, I'm not talking like I'm talking to you now, because we're a different audience, but I talk in a very different way, and I'm quite animated at the best of times, as you can see. I'm very animated in TikTok, and so I'm jumping all over the place in TikTok, but that's appropriate, right?
Yeah.
So it's knowing how to tell the AI who you're trying to speak to, because that will change the language. And, is it business formal? Is it business casual? So, people are writing copy and you can tell if it's not their natural voice, because you haven't given it enough information, because it will generate what it thinks you want, but you got to tell it what you want.
Exactly. You have to be very precise.
It's a tool for us. It's not the other way around. And I think people who are afraid of it, thinking it's going to replace us, have missed the point that it's a tool to serve us. I hope in 20 years' time, this interview doesn't come back to haunt me and the AI comes and takes over me.
I read an article, a post that in the US, McDonald's opened the first restaurant without any staff.
Oh my goodness, isn't that extraordinary?
Completely automated.
If you think, I'm 57 and I remember when fax machines started, and I think in my lifetime, it's extraordinary what I've seen. I actually worked in telco for a while. I was with Nokia, and when the 3 Series phone came out, we had hours of training on how to use that 3 Series phone. And now, you open a box and you just bang, kids can use it straight away. But, I love the speed of technology. I think it's really exciting. And, I think that's the way to use it. And you can use it in networking and in business and referrals. All the technology that we have makes it easier. Like you're talking about an international networking event. That's insane.
Yeah, it is. Hey, I really enjoyed talking with you. I mean, we are almost neighbors at the moment. Yeah,
we are.
Is there anything else you would like to share with the audience? Anything we didn't touch on? We talked a lot about referrals, about niching down, about networking event, target market.
Yep.
Anything?
I think what I would say to people is, with all the AI, with all the technology that we have, I think one of the things that it is going to do for us is give us back a little bit, hopefully give us back a little bit more time. And I would love to see people use that time to invest in other people. Yeah. And one of the things that I saw in the pandemic was when people gave of themselves, and I saw extraordinary things. We did some amazing stuff here in BNI in Melbourne, because we were in a very long lockdown, and people reached out and helped people. And family and community is the purpose of life, I think. And if we've got the time now available to us, then, invest in helping other people, because when you help other people, if you've ever done any volunteering work, you get more back than you can ever put in. Yeah. And I think as successful business people, if we invest in other people, we can only better the planet. And I'd love people to really just invest in helping other people. How can you help somebody grow their business? So if you're an established business owner, how can you help somebody new? How can you lift somebody up? Because collectively, if we're lifting each other up and the world's lifting each other up, we will be a better place. I mean, the world is a better place today because we are better at doing stuff. There's obviously stuff going on that's not great, but I think collectively we're in a better place. And, I just think it's an opportunity for us to lift each other up and do good things for each other. And, building a network and helping people in your network is a really great way of doing that.
I love this. Thanks for sharing this, Braith, and enjoy your next BNI networking event. And
it's at lunchtime today, actually.
At lunchtime today, okay. And thanks a lot for being on the show today. And I hope our paths crosses again.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning into the High Performance CEO Show. I'm your host, Sebastian Schieke, and it's been a pleasure serving you. Please subscribe to our show on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Your support helps us reach more listeners and create a bigger impact. Check out our website, sebastianschieke.com, for additional resources. Until next time, be bold, be exceptional, be outstanding, be a leader.